The sport's beginning dates back 2,000 years to ancient Greece. The hands of time have only modernized the tools. The need for superb strength, stamina, and courage, coupled with precise teamwork, has not changed. Some call it rowing, some call it crew. Those who do it call it the supreme challenge. The training started over 10 months ago, and the competing began 4 months ago. Now the time has come to prove who is the best. Not all have measured up, so not all are among the elite. Only 5 will race for the Men's Intercollegiate National Championship and the coveted Hershey Cup. Cincinnati Regatta 1990. It's the Champion International Collegiate Rowing Series. Today, the Men's Intercollegiate National Championship. Brought to you by Sporty's Preferred Living Catalog, featuring quality products and outstanding service for your home and leisure time. Hi, everybody. I'm Phil Samp. Welcome to East Fork State Park, just east of Cincinnati, Ohio. This afternoon, we'll determine the national championship for men's collegiate rowing. Our expert commentator is Bill Engelman, who put this event together 8 years ago. This is the 9th year it'll be rowed, and actually established this national championship. Bill, first of all, tell us about the 5 crews.
You have to look first at Harvard. They're the 3-time defending champions. You've watched them row 5 different crews down out here in the last 8 years. They're going to be tough. They're always tough. They've already been beaten once, Phil, this year by Washington in the San Diego Crew Classic in April. Washington and UCLA on the West Coast have been going neck and neck all year long. Syracuse is here. They're a senior crew. They want to be here. They're going to be tough. And, of course, this is the exact same conditions that we had 4 years ago, Phil, when the University of Wisconsin came through and beat Harvard and everybody else. And it's a kind of day.
The course is 2,000 meters. Tell us about the course.
Well, the first 1,000 meters is real protected and real tight. And it could be won in the first 1,000 meters. And if they don't win it in the first 1,000 meters, they could find they can't do it the next 1,000 meters.
Okay. We'll be back to take a closer look at these crews now in just a minute. The squad lines up like this.
So you can see, Phil, there's some young kids in this crew. There are a couple of sophomores, a couple of freshmen, but the beef in the middle of the boat is there. He's got 4 guys that are 6'4", 200 pounds in the middle.
There's an international flavor with a youngster from Sweden and one from Greece. We asked Coach Bob Ray about this year's UCLA crew.
Our crew this year, it's a very young, inexperienced crew with 2 freshmen, 1 novice in the boat, and only 1 senior is leaving for next year. So it's rather a future crew, which will try to gain experience and prepare for next year's.
In the Cup's 9th year, the UCLA coach finds the regatta course interesting.
It is. It's fast course, but at the same moment, it's difficult for crews at the second half of the course. The first half is very well covered, protected. Then you're coming to the opening at about 750, last 500, and then it's a very difficult course because it happens a crosswind, and still the motorboat sometimes moving outside of the course because a lot of you have open space, create a very strange wake, which for not very well technically rowing crew or already running out of energy can create some problems.
The Wisconsin Badgers won the Midwest Championship, but today would like to avenge a 4-second loss to Harvard in the Eastern Sprints. They row like this.
All these guys were here last year. They were about 6 seconds back of Harvard last year. They're about 4 seconds back in the Eastern Sprints.
We asked Coach Randy Jablonski to describe his 1990 crew.
It's an experienced crew. It's a crew that has 5 seniors in it. It's a crew that has a lot of maturity, great students, better than a 3-point average for the entire team, which is rather unique, perhaps not unique in the sport of rowing, but unique by the fact that these people are engineers, pre-med, pre-law, very dedicated, very well-oriented group. They're goal-oriented. They're people that know where they're going, where they want to go, and how they're going to get there.
The Cincinnati Regatta is made up of 26 various races and nearly 200 rowers competing throughout the day. The event draws thousands of spectators to the beach of the lake here at East Fork State Park. We'll be back to take a look at the Washington, Harvard, and Syracuse crews in just a moment. We're back at East Fork State Park in southwest Ohio. One of the pre-race favorites is the Washington Huskies. We asked Coach Bob Ernst about his crew.
That's pretty exciting for us. We have mostly young guys in the crew this year. We have 3 seniors, 3 juniors, and 3 sophomores. And as I look at the lineups of the other crews here in the National Championship Regatta, we probably have the youngest lineup of anybody in here.
On May 20th, his team won the Pacific Coast Championship by upsetting defending champ UCLA. Here's how they line up.
These are some big guys. He's got the biggest crew out here. And, of course, they're the co-favorites. But they've got some kids here who've never been here, and they're awful young. We'll have to see how they row.
Harvard has dominated the national championship by winning the last 3 years here. They have won 5 of the last 8 races. The 1990 crew lines up like this.
Harry's got 3 key guys back from last year. He's got 6, he's got Stroke, and he's got his Cox. He's got to feel awful good about his chances.
We asked Coach Harry Parker to comment on them.
This year's Harvard crew is a good mix of a couple of very capable, very experienced people in the boat, and a number of younger, less experienced people. And the blend has worked out really well. They've raced extremely well. Very good chemistry.
Coming off a big victory over Yale, Coach Parker is happy with his season thus far.
We've had an outstanding season. We've been really pleased. The crew has raced really well in all of their races. A little bit of a slow start in our first regatta at San Diego, but every other race since then they've raced extremely well, and we've won a few races.
Today is a rematch for Harvard with Washington after a loss to them in the San Diego Classic.
Pretty aggressive, a young crew, similar to ours, and good racers. I think they'll be a tough crew to beat, Washington. Wisconsin is a crew that seems to be developing and getting stronger as the season goes on. We've raced them several times. Keeps getting a little bit closer. We hope not too close this time. The others we haven't raced as much. We did race UCLA a couple of times early in the year. Very solid, very good rowing crew. Syracuse we raced only at the sprints. They seem to have gotten faster. Looks to me like it's going to be pretty tough racing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Epopee. Okay.
22-year coach Bill Sanford brought his Syracuse crew here as a wild card team. Here's how they row.
As you can see, Phil, they've got some guys here who put in a lot of strokes together. Look at those seniors. They've got some awful good ones. Alan Green was the silver medalist last year in the World University Games.
This is only Syracuse's second appearance in regatta, and their first one was 8 years ago in the inaugural. We asked Coach Sanford about this year's crew.
Well, they're an experienced boat. There's 6 seniors in there, and they've stuck together for 4 years and really been the meat and potatoes of my program. We've been very successful with them, and as soon as we finished 3rd in the IRA this year, the first thing that came out of their mouth is we got to go to Cincinnati. So I wasn't going to deny them, and I know that they can be competitive here, so here we are.
Sanford highly respects the competition here at the national championships.
I think there's an awful lot of parity in the league at the top level. We saw it all year. I believe you're going to throw a blanket over this whole field, and you know, we're figuring we've got 1/5 chance to win this thing as well as anyone else. There are a couple of favorites I've heard, and Wisconsin, Washington, Harvard, of course, they're always the ones that seem to be here, and they're the ones that we're going to be shooting at. But we cannot deal with those other crews on the race course. There's too much to think about there. What we're going to do is try to come down the course as fast as we can. We're going to keep our minds and focus in our boat, and we're going to come down and forget the other people. Let our coxswain take care of the racing us, and we're going to see if we can't come down the course as fast as we can, faster than we have this year. And if we do that, we're going to win.
We'll be back for the big race in just a moment. Here are the lane assignments. Lane number 1 is open. Lane 2 is UCLA. Lane 3 is Washington. Lane 4 is Wisconsin. Lane 5 is Harvard. Lane 6 is Syracuse. Bill Engelman, we are ready.
These guys are trying to get ready. This is the tough part of the race for them. They've got to get their minds in the boat. They've got to get it off of what it's going to feel like in a couple of minutes. This is a long course.
All right, attention in all boats. We are going to a countdown start. I will be starting at 5, going to 1, then going immediately into the starting commands. Coxswain's hands will not be recognized during the countdown start. You're responsible for your own course. This is the start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Et vous prêt? Partez!
They're off. It's a good, clean start for all 5 crews.
And it appears 50 to 100 meters away from the starting line, Bill. All 5 crews just about even.
Getting a little bit of a move out of Syracuse on the outside. Looks like they're moving out. Looks like UCLA's moving up with them.
It appears that Syracuse at the top of the picture is making a move, Bill, early.
Where they are really moving out.
Harvard next to him in lane 5 has dropped back a bit.
They hang back and flurry. We're going to have to watch them. That's Syracuse that's out there.
They look as though they mean business. Very excellent first 300-400 meters.
Look at where UCLA is. Look at UCLA moving up.
UCLA and Syracuse right now vying for the lead.
It's real early.
Washington and Harvard back a ways, Bill.
This is where the favorites like to sit. They like to sit there and let it work.
Washington is particularly far back early.
Maybe they aren't going to do it this time. Look at UCLA move out. They're out there 36 strokes a minute and looking long.
We've talked about Syracuse and UCLA, but there's Wisconsin in the middle, right with those two.
They're moving right up. Get a clocking on them. They're 35, 36 right now. They're moving right up and ahead of Syracuse.
Wisconsin poking the nose of its boat up there, seemingly perhaps in front right at the moment, Bill, but very, very close between the 3.
They're still down a little to UCLA, and Harvard is still holding back. But they're back in 5th at this point.
Now Wisconsin seems to be starting a move.
Look at that spacing. Those guys are pushing it. Look at how evenly the spacing is, Phil. Those guys are rowing 38 strokes a minute.
It's interesting to notice the marks in the water left by the oars.
That's what I mean by spacing. When you see that spacing as even as that, those guys are moving the boat. They're flying. Look at.
Wisconsin has moved out well.
Can't see. It's 1,000 meters. They're out there. Look at them go.
This Wisconsin with UCLA and Syracuse kind of nose to nose. Harvard, then Washington.
That Harvard crew is just still out there. It's still lying back. We're going to have to see how far out Wisconsin's going and how much they're going to pay to do it at the end. You've watched Harvard row down 4 or 5 crews here, and they come up in that last 1,000 meters and just blow them away.
Do the rowers keep their eyes on the other shells at all, or tend strictly to business?
They have to be right in the boat. The coxswains tell them where they're going. They have to be in the boat. If their minds aren't in the boat, they're dead.
Wisconsin has moved out to about a boat's length now.
This is the time when you're going to see whether they can do it or not. It looks to me like they're going to do it.
It appears unless they have a crab or something, some kind of malfunction, that they should hold on with that lead.
Those guys are sitting there right now, and they're trying to figure out how to get across the ocean to Henley I was down there with them in 1986, and those guys are going to have fun. They are just not going to be denied. Look at them go. But look at UCLA. Look at those guys.
Zenon has them working smoothly.
There's Harvard. They're starting to flurry. They're going up.
They appear to be gaining a bit of water on Syracuse and UCLA, but certainly not on Wisconsin.
They don't make any impression at all on Wisconsin. Wisconsin's just as long and strong as can be. Look at them go.
It is a good race for second place, but right now Wisconsin really has the upper hand.
UCLA may just hold on. They may just beat Harvard. Look at that. They've got them by a seat and a half.
Then Syracuse and Washington in the rear.
Yeah, Syracuse and Washington are out of it. The race is definitely for second place at this point. It doesn't look like anybody's going to touch Wisco. Less than 250 meters to go.
They'll call on everything they have on these final 250.
UCLA still has them.
This point is very obvious. No one will catch Wisconsin.
No, Wisconsin's going to win, but UCLA may get Harvard.
A great battle for second. Here's Wisconsin coming across the finish line.
And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it at all.
I think we'll have to wait for the photo to decide whether it was UCLA or Harvard for second. Wisconsin definitely has won the 1990 Men's National Collegiate Championship. Surprised, Bill?
I have to say I am. Look at those guys. Like a bunch of fighters, they've been through a heck of a fight, but they won.
Tired but jubilant, but they're not as tired as the other crews. You can be sure of that.
There it is.
Harvard just nosing out UCLA for second place.
Those are a tired bunch of Harvard guys.
Harvard took second place by 3/100ths of a second.